So burnout is gradual. It doesn't just happen overnight. So let's keep an eye on these symptoms that we're going to discuss in this video. If you're interested in this, please hit the subscribe button. And really my focus is about healing, fighting, tips to be well. Okay? So we can be well and fight this. Also long COVID. One of the side effects that's coming out now of long COVID is anxiety, brain fog and burnout. So again, even being more super mindful of yourself, go and talk to your employer. This is, it is a real issue now and it's showing up. It's showing up for people in the workplace a lot now, the impact of this. Take a break, book your holidays, improve your sleep. Go for it, take a break. There's lots of tips here that I've got for you. You've got to want to be well. You've got to want to see the change. It's hard work, but you can do it. So I'm encouraging you to do it. Good luck. There is this amazing trend in China and Japan right now, and it's called touching fish. So burnout was always a problem in these cultures. I'll put Korea in here as well, South Korea. And people would overwork. People will stay at work till 11 o'clock at night, get the train home and be in the office at 6 o'clock. People will sleep under their desks. It's all about showing face, showing up. And basically young people burnt out, suicide, depressed, careers ended. So there's this amazing trend called touching fish. Touching fish, I love it. So it goes back to a proverb where it's easier to catch fish in muddy waters. So actually the trend is to take advantage of the pandemic and start putting in place healthy boundaries between home, work. Where are you having fun? In fact, go and have fun. Don't be at work. How to work smart. So this is a fabulous trend. Google it, touching fish. Maybe we should all be touching some fish. I love it. And also your immune system, right? And we need a strong immune system right now today. If you choose to not take some steps to prevent burnout, your immune system is going to be absolutely depleted as well. You're going to be susceptible to colds, flus, COVID. Yeah, we need to stay well. So this may already be showing up and you're taking time off work with sickness and also wanting to avoid people. Let's just take a minute here. I just want to highlight the difference between stress and burnout. Okay, so stress is very much a higher energy, anxiety, a heightening of emotions. Yeah, and the physical side effects here on a really bad scale can be heart attack, strokes. Yeah, lots of health connections with stress. Okay, but with burnout, it is heavier, lower. A numbing of emotions and avoidance. So they're very different energies. And burnout doesn't just happen overnight. It is starting to creep in. So I'd like you to notice now, what of these symptoms that we're going to discuss are you starting to notice yourself? So your energy is going to be low. You won't want to get out of bed. Even through the day, you're just going to be not bothered, right? Don't want to move. Headaches. Muscular tension. Just notice how the frequency of headaches, tension in the usually upper back, spine, neck, jaw. Notice that. And sleep. Sleep's going to become impacted. You may not want to get up. You may have trouble getting to sleep. So really keep an eye on these. And you're going to be feeling quite overwhelmed and quite frustrated and cynical. So actually just think about people who, even colleagues, because everyone's on this path here and we need to be being well. People who are moaning all the time. They didn't moan all the time, but there's a lot of moaning and negativity. And you may be prone to losing your temper, crying, and also noticing with food. If we're approaching burnout, we may be eating more or not eating. And actually, are we eating rubbish food? Is it sugar? Is it caffeine? What are we consuming? We may be drinking too much alcohol. It's not going to help anything. Alcohol is a depressant. We're also not going to sleep. How are we using caffeine? So really just bringing this into awareness. What are you noticing yourself? So the emotional signs of burnout are a sense of failure, that you've let people down, self-doubt, but also if you liked your job, that you're really not into it anymore, you're not interested anymore. So there's often a feeling of lack of motivation, or that you might feel quite alone in the world. Behavioural signs are that you are going to show up less. You are going to start pulling back from responsibility, from tasks, from projects that probably you used to enjoy. Or not enjoy, but still do them. You're going to be late for meetings. So notice this in members of your team and people you work with as well. Who's constantly showing up late, not showing up, being sick, and just noticing that they're wanting to, or that you're wanting to isolate yourself quite a lot. You're going to be working a lot slower. The decision-making process is a lot slower when we're burning out, or if we are burnt out and we're still showing up. And this is especially vulnerable for people when they work in the creative industry, or if you have to make something or just make decisions. You know, will I have peas or beans with my fish fingers? When we're burnt out, not bothered, and actually you don't care, and you can't think. Okay, so that lack of motivation and feeling quite depressed is something that you're going to notice. Feeling heavy in your body, very heavy in your body, and that you want to just check out, be on your own, go to sleep, and you're not really interested in anything. And also, again, with burnout, you may need, and often with burnout, people they need to be off for like 3 months to get well. It's not 2 weeks off and then 3 days a week for a couple of weeks. It breaks people, it changes people's lives, right? So actually very often there needs to be a lifestyle change that has to take place. Are people drinking too much? Are we using caffeine? Am I not exercising? So the burnout really often leads us to really look at what needs to change. And I'm asking you to look at it before it happens, before you're on your knees, before you're spent, you're done. Okay, what do I need to change now? So this year, 2021, the World Health Organization have called burnout an occupational phenomena. Okay, the pandemic has basically made it worse. This is me squashing. We've all been squashed. It's made everything worse and really vibrate. In therapy, anyone I was working with who was prone to burnout, certain industries, personality types are prone to burnout. Say we have big projects. I work a lot in the video games industry, so there is a big push towards deadline, getting games completed, getting them to alpha, getting them to beta, or in software, creativity, if we're working on deadline. Yeah, it's super hard. And also burnout's really regular in some industries, specifically the video game industry, and the film and TV industry that I'm used to working in as well. So yeah, huge issue, and we need to be taking breaks. So there are always triggers, okay? Financial, workplace, relationship, a crossing of boundaries. Yeah, really this crossing of boundaries, home, work, home working, kids at home, school, people in the house, no space. Yeah, really, there are lots of triggers. But let me just highlight a few that I think you may find useful. So yes, people talk about work, and initially it's about work. So the workplace. So number one, the bad boss. Yeah, if we are not being recognised, we're not being acknowledged, we're not being given credit, bad boss, really big trigger. Also, if it's a bit chaotic at work, if there's bad management, if you don't know what deadlines you're working to, that causes us quite a lot of stress. So the work might be monotonous or unchallenging, or also in a really high pressure environment, or an environment that's quite disorganized and chaotic. Yeah, that's really great symptoms for burnout over time. Okay, especially when we've got COVID on top of this, and the pandemic has halved all of our resilience. Okay, whatever resilience we had, we're all running on 50%. Okay, so now is really a tipping point for burnout. Also, I'd like you to notice lifestyle. So are you someone who may be prone to burnout because you take on a lot of projects, that you're really interested in all this stuff, you're the bright shiny star, you're maybe taking on too much of other people's responsibilities rather than delegating and thinking, okay, they're an adult, they can sort that out for themselves. Also within the lifestyle, there may be a lack of sleep, And also, have you got enough support? You know, if you're looking after other people and being mindful of other people and getting a lot done, who's actually looking after you? Have you got close relationships or people you can speak to who are going to support you? Personality also may leave us quite vulnerable to burnout. So some personalities, especially people who are a be perfect, they have something called a be perfect driver. So these people will usually get stressed about time and be quite anxious about time, but they like everything to be perfect. They're not great at delegating things, okay? These people are going to be really prone to burnout because they cannot just put it down. They cannot just put it down and move to the next task. They're going to be obsessing about getting this thing done. And also the high achievers. So again, this is within our personality. So if you are brilliant, or if you have people in your team who are brilliant, and I've worked with this a lot in the games industry. In fact, I'd say I was one of these people. Maybe I still am, okay? I'm a bit less perfect now though, which I love. And I'm not bothered about. So if you are or have people in your team who are the person who, I don't know, they got the first at university, they took part in this game jam, or they took part in this quiz, they're up for the young whatnot of the year, they're into this, they're setting up groups, they're here, they're there. These people are going to burn out very, very quickly. So your shining stars are the people that I need to ask you to keep an eye on and give them some support, give them some tools, and make sure they've got some holidays booked in. Often, especially in the creative industry, you can't get people to take a holiday. This was a real problem, especially for younger people. They weren't taking holidays. In the games industry, it was actually because a lot of people loved working in games so much, they didn't understand that they needed to take a break. Because they'd burn out, and then they burn out. So unfortunately, let's learn from this. Let's learn from where other people may have fallen down. Maybe you've fallen down yourself. Get the holidays booked in. If you are feeling burnt out, if you are feeling like you're struggling, I need to ask you to start taking some breaks, as in from now. Speak to HR if that's something you feel comfortable with. Maybe occupational health. If that's something you're not comfortable with, go and talk to your doctor. Ring your doctor, have a conversation. Go and find a therapist. There may be therapy available on the NHS. Look at some websites below for finding a local therapist. Start getting help for this now. If you don't start putting some of these preventative tools in, burnout can last for months. And usually it is people sleeping for 24 hours at a time because they are emotionally, mentally and physically exhausted. Please do something about this now. And if you have any questions, let me know.